Give it up for Serafina Olivia.
I had 2 drinks, so I'm not nervous anymore. But everybody's so nice, this is probably gonna be fine. I tried to write y'all a sexy poem and it came out mad, which is exactly what happened last year. I feel like this is just sort of my natural state, so we're gonna go with it. Yeah, my poem is called Gender Traitor. For a sweet girl who deserves better. On Thursday, men caught her out in the streets. She, a gender traitor, they, a pack. They drove into her their fear with fists and words, and in the aftermath, all I can feel is helpless. I wasn't there, I couldn't stop it. I wouldn't have been able to stop it if I was. You know that spiral? When you feel like the world is slipping between your fingers like a rope thrown over the edge of the cliff? The rope that holds everything you've ever loved, one thought leads to another, and I couldn't help this stranger becomes, what if something happens to my girlfriend? Becomes, I can't protect the people that I love. Becomes, I can't protect anyone. Becomes rage. I have been living in that spiral for decades. She handed me that helpless feeling, fed me into the spiral, and all I wanted to do was pull at the fabric of reality and rend us a hole into a space that would never make her feel unsafe again. I wanted to make her a utopia, something we could walk through. We gender traitors, we sinners against the unholy writ that is gender as a binary system, sex as a contract for children, for heirs, for the survival of a species, clothing and self-fashioning, just flags for fuckability, for passing. I wanted to find her a world that would take all the people that I love and let them walk the streets alone without their fingers clutching knife handles. But I'm not a magician, and that world isn't real. The only world that I can offer her is this one, this solid hunk of rock and bile housing the rotting flesh of patriarchy and the stink of imperialism. The problem with utopia is that we spend so much time thinking about it that we forget we have to make it. We reach out for it in tantalizing moments, tasting it briefly, our eyes catching glimpses of it shining through the cracks of the failing world. We can picture it, and it lingers on our tongues forever after. But we can't simply will it into being, and taste will never be enough. We have to build it for ourselves. We have to fight. We have to root out the things that choke the light from the edges of our vision. Now, I am a harpy, so I am comfortable starting my utopia in fire and blood. To be honest, I don't know if you could start one any other way because we cannot separate the sexual from the political. It starts in boardrooms and on paper. With the emptying of large white houses, it starts with excising cancerous legislation. It starts with the dismantling of SEXta and FOSTA, with the destruction of laws that put sex workers' lives at risk. It starts with the firing of TSA agents who think it's their job to police the genders of queers just going on vacation.
Yeah.
It starts with that pussy-grabbing, orange hate muppet-looking white supremacist rapist motherfucker. Because how can we have a sexual utopia when we are in fear for our lives? When the barest interaction, hitting on someone gently in a bar, asking for help, walking quietly down the street, can end with us in a back alley being taught the hard lesson that deviance is punishable by death. So it starts with the repeal and replacement of each person who thinks it's their job to legislate what we do with our sexual health. With the men who sit on panels about abortion, with the Catholic Church and the Pentecostal ministries and Scientology. It starts in these streets. With the police who use the virtue of white women to police the bodies of black men. It starts with the fight to decriminalize sex work in the churches, in our schools. It starts with the education of young people about how their boundaries should be respected and consent is fucking mandatory. Because I want those kids to catch that glimmer, that lingering translucent thing. I want them to follow the light and to grow into the kinds of humans who, when they reach for sex as a way to connect, are not ashamed. Don't talk themselves out of the things that they want. Don't falter at entryways. Don't linger over exits. Who pursue what they need with ferocity and without fear. And they can't grow into those kinds of humans if they think those things are impossible. So our utopia starts with the reframing of masculinity. Not as some stony-faced ideal, not as a grab bag of undesirable traits, emotional distance, violence, anger is the only viable emotion, but rather as a nurturing, connecting force. It starts with teaching straight men that they can fucking touch each other. That they can do their own emotional labor, that boys do in fact cry. That traits that have been coded as feminine are not shameful but desirable, that the possession of those traits makes them desirable. We can't have a utopia in some far-off imaginary land, friends. That's just a fantasy. If we want to live and breathe and fuck freely in this world, we have to fight to make one in the here and now. Crack open the seams of our world with all our might and let the damn light in.
Yes.
I look out at the world every day and there's this longing in the pit of my gut for the shine. For a time when all of us can walk the pathways we have laid out into the world without fear. I want that utopia so badly, and sometimes I can taste it. On warm days when no man catcalls me. When my friends leave and return to their nests and do not feed me the spiral downward to a nameless place full of rage without endings. I feel its shimmering fingers in the moments when my love asks me to yield. Fist deep in the heart of me, asking for my trust in a world that is untrustworthy. And when I open, when I scream and beg and lean on her for refuge, when she gives me the gift of safety in a world that is unsafe, you can taste it too. When you close your eyes and write the poem that is all our bodies entwined, the flavors of the future are utopia, with streets that rise to meet us, begging for our feet as we all move forward into brilliance.